Hello, my name is Hayan Kwan, and I'd like to talk about the importance of food safety. In this modern society, it's not easy to cook at home every meal, especially in the traditional ways we used to do, like 40 to 50 years ago. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, people started to come to the big cities, leaving their hometowns. The large family has broken into the nuclear family, and the number of family members have significantly decreased. Dual income families who do not have sufficient time to cook have increased. However, thanks to the scientific development, the farmers can grow food material faster and the supply has become more stable. Also, mass production of processed food became possible. As a result, we are highly dependent on these processed foods for almost everyday meal. When it comes to processed foods, what do you think of? In Korea, I think the representative processed foods are ramen, canned food, ham, and sausage. They can be easily available at the supermarkets and cooked fast. If your family is small, it's sometimes cheaper than buying the food material and cooking at home. They also taste good and the quality is consistent. Furthermore, most of processed foods have longer preservation period, so we can stick them in the bag and eat them whenever we want. However, have you ever thought about how all of these are possible? Have you thought about whether they are still good for health? These questions are about safety. We should know that these conveniences are all possible thanks to the artificial ingredients added to the products, such as MSG, preservatives, acidity regulator, and color former. Even though you are not familiar with these names, probably you know intuitionally that these have no good for the body. First of all, as well known, MSG is the artificial flavor enhancer. It's abbreviation of monosodium glutamate. When absorbing too much, it can cause the blood pressure, a blood vessel problem in the brain, growth hormone, and generative function problem. Second is preservative, which is mainly contained in ham and ramen. It restrains the growth of germs and prevent the food spoil. But when absorbing too much, it can cause the cancer, liver problem, and asthma. Third is acid regulator contained in the snacks. It prevents the chemical spoil of fat and carbohydrate, but when absorbed too much, it can cause a cancer, lack of calcium, potential problem with your baby. Last but not least is color foamer, normally contained in the ham and sausage. When absorbed too much, it can cause the liver problem, anemia, respiratory problem, and asthma. From the next slide, I would like to take the examples of processed food and talk about what additives they are containing and what influence they have on human body. First is Korean noodle called ramen. The major additive is MSG and sodium. MSG included in one serving is almost half of the maximum quantity that is allowed by the World Health Organization. Also, the sodium in the one serving is the two-thirds of at the adult's one-day limit. It also has refined sugar, alkaline chemical, acidity regulator, color former, and so on to make it taste good, make it preserved longer, and make it look tasty. In short, ramen is the cocktail of artificial additives. When you compare the quantity of each ingredient with the limit allowed by the FDA, you might see they are below the limit. However, you don't know about the effect when these are all mixed in one meal. Some ingredients create a harmful substance when it is combined with other ingredients. Some are known as safe now, but later on it is found that it's harmful. The major potential problem when you eat ramen too much is high blood pressure, kidney disease, and calcium excretion. So, people with such disease or young children should refrain from eating too much ramen. Next is canned food. Canning the food is the best way to preserve for a long time period. However, since the can is normally made with aluminum, it is not free from the heavy metal issue. When aluminum is accumulated in the bone, it causes calcium excretion problem, which can develop to osteoporosis. It can also cause anemia. When it's accumulated in the brain, it stops the function of brain cells, which can develop to Alzheimer's disease in the worst case. If aluminum has such a bad influence, would a bottled food safe? The answer is no, as long as it is not homemade. So that the bottled food can be distributed in the market, it should contain various additives to maintain its taste, shape, and flavor. The third is ham and sausage. As you may know, the ham and sausage was the result of our ancestors' effort to preserve them for a longer period, normally using salt or smoking, which take quite a longer time to make it. In the modern society, ham and sausage is made with the chemical preservatives called sorbic acid instead of these traditional ways. To make it look tasty, color formula called sodium nitrite is added in most of ham and sausage. Phosphate plays the role as a binder, which makes it chewy. Like other processed food, each ingredient might be under the limit allowed by FDA. However, the problem is when these ingredients meet other nature or artificial ingredients. For example, sodium nitrite creates the carcinogenic substance when it met amino acid, which is contained in the protein. However, the regulation of FDA does not cover all of these effects, as it only sees the effect of each ingredient as it is. You will now understand that it is the best not to eat this processed food for your health. However, in reality, it is not easy not to eat processed food at all. I admit that too. Then, at least, you should know how to minimize the danger of eating processed food. First, you should be familiar with the name of artificial ingredients and side effects as explained in the beginning. You can see the name of the ingredients on the back of the package. When you do the grocery shopping, paying a little bit more attention on the ingredients can reduce such an intake of artificial additives. On the next slide, I will give you some tips to minimize such a danger for the processed food taken as example. For Korean ramen, boil the noodle and sauce separately and add the boiled noodle into the soup. Then you will not intake the harmful substance which was contained in the noodle and now drained in the boiled water. Second, use the 2/3 of ramen soup powder. This powder has too much sodium, so using less powder helps a lot. Lastly, add vegetable and seaweed such as onion, green onion, and kelp. It supplements vitamin and mineral which is lacked in the ramen. Next, canned food. The best is not to eat canned food. But if you have to eat the canned food, eat with sufficient green vegetables and nuts as they help to remove the heavy metal drained from your body. If you have choice to choose between canned food and bottled food, I would say the bottled one is less dangerous. But please make sure that homemade bottled food is the best for your health. Last, ham and sausage. Actually, ham and sausage are not that cheap, so I would recommend eating fresh meat rather than these processed meats. As far as the ham and sausage are made by the traditional way, I would say they are safe. But in Korea, You can rarely find them. If you cannot avoid eating ham and sausage made using the artificial additives, there are two ways to reduce the danger. First is to boil them in the water to remove the preservatives and to lower the calorie. The second is to cook with vegetables such as onion and broccoli to remove the additives from the body, to eliminate the additives from the body. Now, you may ask me, for what should we care about this? I have eaten these processed foods, but I have no problem in my health. Also, you may say, I will eat whatever I want and I would rather die earlier. But please remember that the side effect from eating the processed food will not occur right after one time of eating. It is accumulated in the body for a long time, and suddenly you might find yourself with a disease without knowing any specific reason. Then you'll have to fight against the disease for a long time. Obviously, you don't want to finish your life that way. Also, the accumulated substances might be delivered to your baby if you already have accumulated such substances before pregnancy. It also might cause some problems with your new baby. It just does not end at your generation. I know some of you still will not give up and continue eating the processed food the way you used to do. The choice is yours, but please remember that it is important to know what is good and what is bad. Eating the processed food knowing the danger and without knowing the danger is different. I hope you make a smart choice. Thank you.